Hello.
Hi, Geeks Assembled audio heads doing another album because, it's good. And because Lee really likes Depeche Mode, so we're doing Violator. Show us the CD.
There's the CD, but there's the booklet with it.
Oh, cool. Right.
Yeah.
So they're really, really awesome. Tell us about how you found Depeche Mode a long time ago or whatever.
Yeah. Well, Depeche Mode, they seem to be going on forever, for eternity. I mean, they are one of the biggest stadium bands, and back in the day, and they still pack out the stadiums today. But back then, in the early 80s, 81-ish, 81, I think it was, a little synth pop band with jolly little songs. I just can't get enough. With Vince Clarke in the band at the time. Then he sort of departed after that sort of period, went off to create another group called Yazoo with Alison Moyet. And then later he left that band and created another band, Erasure, with Andy Bell. So, Vince Clarke went on from strength to strength. All the while, after he left Depeche Mode, Martin Gore took over the writing duties of the band. They got Alan Wilder to join the group, and Depeche Mode went from strength to strength. It wasn't a year sort of thing in the 80s where they wasn't having a hit. I mean, Violator, this album we're talking about, is their 7th studio album. And it was released in 1990, so they had 6 albums out in the 80s. And they were constantly touring, and they still are today. As a 3-piece now, though, there's only 3 of them left in the band. Alan Wilder left a few years back. That's the sort of shortened version history of the Depeche Mode. And they've had some hard times. Dave Garn has had his run-ins with his demons, shall we say, his addictions, which also coincided with their sort of most successful period as well, which is a bit strange. But we're talking.
How did you find them? How did you discover Depeche Mode?
How did I discover them? For me, I heard the songs. I just can't get enough, and all people are people on the radio. So that would have been what people 1984. I wasn't really into them at the time. It was when they released their 86 album, Black Celebration, when they went all black, all dark. But the lyrics said a lot in those sort of songs. And that's how I discovered them then. When they went to the dark side, shall we say. Maybe it's just me. I just don't like that. But yeah, that's how I discovered them. And then I went back with their early albums. I still like the tinkly pop tunes they made then, and they've sort of took those tunes, went into the live concert, because I've seen them live 4 times now, and they know how to put on a live show. It's just amazing what they do on their live shows. So yeah, that's how I discovered them. It was the 86 Black Celebration album. As I say, then I went back and discovered the back catalogue of their early 80s stuff, and I've followed them ever since. So how did you discover them, Susan?
Good question. I think it was, I was caught up. I first found out about Culture Club, and then there was a an article in Newsweek in 1982 with Annie Lennox and Boy George on the cover, and it was called The British Invasion. And it was, yeah. And so they talked about all these British bands, and I was like, oh, Depeche Mode, these guys are so beautiful, so you know, spooky and eerie sounding. I just loved them. I mean, I just can't get enough. That wasn't to me tinkly pop. Tinkly pop was Bryan Adams or some of the American pop that was going on at the same time. But these guys touched on some beauty in the darkness, some spooky in the mix. And because they were British and because they were amazing artists, I was like, I gotta listen to more of this stuff. And and so I was all the way through high school. I was a fan. I wasn't like one of those fans that bought every album. I had one album. I had Some Great Reward. I had Master and Servant, and my favorite song on that one was Blasphemous Rumors.
Blasphemous Rumors. Yeah.
Because, you know, it touched all this stuff in me. Oh my gosh, that song. Yeah, that was like the spiritual and the emotional and the reality of who I was, like, you know, sick sense of humor, morbidity, die. All that stuff was just rich. And so by, what was this, 1986 that Violator came out?
No, Violator was 1990.
1990, okay.
Yeah.
Once we pass 1985, it's all a blur. In my life, I had demons too. Let's see. The beautiful thing about Violator was the personal Jesus. Okay, there we are again, and we're talking about it, and we're like there, and it's something real, and so yeah, that's where I touch. That's my touchstone with Depeche Mode, and my favorite things of the stuff that they've done is all this stuff that's slightly spiritual and deeply spooky all at the same time. So, Alex, do you want to talk about Depeche Mode and how you discovered them?
Yeah, I discovered them through listening to what other people were listening to, just like the Beastie Boys and all that. But I did sort of like them, but in 1990 I heard some good things about the album, and I bought it, and I like it 95%. I mean, I like the synth pop, I like the rhythm of it, I like the lyrics. I mean, I wasn't partying like drugs and stuff, so I can't relate to that stuff. But I mean, it was a little different. It still sounded good without being too, you know, it wasn't too poppy, it wasn't too heavy. It was kind of synth pop. And you know, like I said, when I listened to them, I said, well, at least they're trying something a little different. It's still, you know, it's not like the Pogues where you can't hear any of the lyrics. And it's not like The Cure where the lyrics kind of depress you, you know, and some of the lyrics are depressing, but not the whole thing. But I mean, again, it's sort of ethereal, but not too much. It was some of the songs were reminding me of the way Morrissey sings a little bit, but that's okay. I still like it. I like Morrissey too. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I don't listen to it on a regular basis, because it is kind of an emo thing. And I usually like my songs to be cheerful and energetic, and I usually like a pretty energetic sound. And Depeche Mode has that, but not in a poppy kind of way. So they are pop, but not in the regular way, not in the we're going to do a song in under 3 minutes kind of way. So, yeah, if you want to hear something different, I mean, they had other bands that were a little similar, but they either were weird or they were, yeah, they were either, they were, well, I was also thinking they might be Giants, but, you know, that was part of the movement. That was also part of the style then as well. And then in 95, it changed for the worst. Not Depeche Mode, but just the style. And of course, FNX was another big radio station here in Massachusetts, and they did play a lot of Depeche Mode, actually. They actually helped a lot of bands like Big Audio Dynamite and Red Hot Chili Peppers and all that. And unfortunately, they're gone now because it's just too expensive to run a radio station, and I guess it's very expensive to play music now. So, plus, they only have a few buildings that can actually handle, you know, all the rules and all the technology. So, plus, unfortunately, with the internet and Amazon and Napster and all those other creations, there's no real need to have a radio station anymore unless you're determined not to use the internet.
It is a shame. It is a shame, though.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I didn't like all of their songs, and some of them I thought were like, what's the other one? Did they do that song? God Has a Weird Sense of Humor or whatever.
Blasphemous River.
Yeah. So that was a little too dark for me. I mean, I understood some of the point, but that was just a little too dark for me. So I don't like every single song, but I can honestly say that I 95%, you know, like their sound. And it's you know, it's like a movie. There's a combination, and people don't realize it. And some of it is, you know, gut reaction. Some of it is emotion. Some of it is how it strikes you. Some of it is the rhythm of it. Some of it is how, you know, do you like it right away? Like some songs for me, you know, I don't get to like them until like the 30th time or whatever. Some songs take a while to grow on you. Although I don't think there's too many Depeche Mode songs that you can necessarily sing along or dance to right away.
Oh yeah.
But
Master and Servant. Sure
yeah. Well, right. But I mean, again, it's a different style. It's a different, you know, and that's the other thing. Every decade's supposed to have a different, you know, type of sound and all that. But yeah, I was reading some of the stuff on Wikipedia. I guess they had a riot when they were signing for a record store. Remember those days? And I guess Depeche Mode doesn't really sell a lot of records either, which is strange. But I mean, they have like over 20 units of work. Whatever they do seems to go on for 30 years. So they've done a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
And they do have fans, but they don't. You know, that's another thing. Some bands aren't commercial. Some bands have fans, and they're not commercial. And even being commercial doesn't help them except for a few years.
You're talking about the Grateful Dead.
Well, they're definitely not synth pop, but
no, they're not.
But in any case, anyway, now that you brought up the Grateful Dead, I know that they're talented. I just didn't like the style of music.
Okay.
So anyway, getting back to Depeche Mode. Yeah, so that was the style. That was the style from the mid-'80s to the mid-'90s, and then it kind of went downhill. And then people started talking about Marilyn Manson, which I think he's ripping off both Depeche Mode and Bowie, and then it really started going off the rails. So hopefully, you know, Pet Shop Boys and Depeche Mode and, you know, real good bands, bands that have a history, start coming back, because it's getting a little tiresome with the same 5 people now in pop music. You turn on the radio, and it's the same 5 people now. It's sad.
Well, I'll tell you now, Depeche Mode and the Pet Shop Boys have never gone away.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you know, they need to have another commercial hit.
Oh yeah, I agree there. I mean, and it's maybe one album's a big commercial hit, then they have 2 more albums, one not as big, but then they come back with another album. You know, you just can't tell with the music in.
Yeah.
Especially today, to be honest. And I agree with what Alex said about the Depeche Mode's music being like a movie. that's exactly what it is. It's a movie like ambient. It's atmospheric. It's a soundtrack. That's to me. That's what Depeche Mode's about. And yeah, that's what I feel anyway. That's when I listen to an album, let's say Violator. That's what you get with it, with the sound. But yeah, back to you, Susan.
Yeah, all right. Can't get this light right. Like, so let's go through the album, okay?
Yeah,
Like track by track, right?
yeah. Let's do it.
And like the first one is "The World in My Eyes," right?
Yeah, The World in My Eyes, and that was the fourth single release off the album in the UK. I don't know if that was the same in America. But,
Don't know.
yeah, they released that as a single. Dave Gahan with his his outstanding voice on it. Let me take you on a trip around the world and back. I mean, that just the opening lines there. It's just brilliant, and the synth on it. It's a great opening track on the album.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant live version what they do as well, but they picked the first track, a good track to open the album with. It's a very, very good track. What do you think about it, Susan?
Yeah, it's pretty rich. It's got it does have a beautiful synth line, and it starts off with an atmospheric sort of glowy thing. So yeah, like that's a great one. And then the second, you want to talk about "World in My Eyes"?
Yeah, I just like the way it sounds. I mean, he has a great voice.
Yeah.
It's doing the singing is, again, it's 95. I mean, maybe they should have had a little bit more variety on it. Maybe have one person do two songs that wasn't him. But it's already done. It's already done, and it's pretty good. I mean, I like it 90%. So.
Okay. And then "The Sweetest Perfection."
Which is not sung by Dave Gahan. It's sung by Martin Gore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's someone else in this one, and you can tell Martin Gore's got a sort of angelic voice.
Mm-hmm.
The warble he always has.
Okay, so let me ask Lee. Now, I don't have the liner notes in front of me. I used to have this CD, but I lost it somehow. How many people are singing on the album? Because it seems like it's one person.
No, there's usually Dave
Oh, hang on.
Gahan is the main vocalist,
Right.
but every now and again, Martin Gore, the one who writes the lyrics, takes lead on maybe a couple of the songs on an album.
Okay, so the first guy didn't sing all the songs, and what was it, 12 or was it more?
Well,
9.
9.
I think there's 9 tracks on the album.
Yeah, because I also remember buying that was also big in the early 90s too, which you would buy the sort of what would be the 12-inch.
Oh yeah.
Now, which would be like the extended versions or the different versions where they they do like club mixes and other things. So I did, like I said, I did have it. Unfortunately, I lost it. And this was also before everybody agreed on MP3s and Windows players as well. So I lost a lot of the copies that I should have kept, unfortunately.
See, this is why I always get the physical thing.
I know. My lifestyle. I end up selling them, or they get ripped off. All the Depeche Mode, especially in Montana, grew legs faster than you could bring it in.
Yeah.
I mean, they were quite portable little things. Anyway, "Sweetest Perfection" is soulful. It's graceful. It's it's like romantic. It's so good. Anyway, so
yeah, I mean Martin Gore's voice adds to that as well, because he really, for me, Martin Gore's voice is more harmonized than Dave Gahan's. But when
together.
You know, so when Dave Garner's singing, you know, you've got Martin Gore doing the harmonies, and when Martin's singing the lead, you can hear Dave Garner sort of doing the harmonies and backing vocals or whatever, but they work so well together, they complement each other.
Yeah. And then the third song on the album is what?
Personal Jesus.
Tell me about that, Lee.
Well, Personal Jesus was the first single to be released off the album in around about September 1989. And it's been covered many times now. Johnny Cash has covered it. Marilyn Manson covered it. But for me, Depeche Mode, the original version, is always the best. You know, I mean, been to see him live. I mean, what makes me laugh? I mean, the line is reach out and touch faith. But when you're at the concert, you can hear them. I got banners. Reach out and touch Dave.
Yes, right.
But,
drawing them in, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a classic. I mean, people say, you know, Depeche Mode are too dark. Yeah, the lyrics are really dark, but this is a pop tune.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
It's very poppy. It was a sort of a big hit in the UK. I don't know if it did anything in America.
Well, here's Alex. He'll talk about this, and then I get to say my bit because I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, apparently, they were big in America. They were big on a lot of rock stations in Massachusetts and California and other places. They didn't sell a lot of records per se. I like Personal Jesus. Yeah, it is very poppy. I know a lot of fans that hated it because they go, I'm not listening to Depeche Mode for pop songs, man. I don't want pop, you know. So I guess they didn't like it.
They can't have listened to the lyrics then.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I mean, this is the other thing too, that, you know, sometimes you'd be surprised how people, you know, misinterpret and misread the song. You know, that's been one of the greatest riddles of not only how they make it, but, you know, how people misinterpret the lyrics. When, you know, some people know exactly what it is the minute they hear it, and other people, they never get the lyrics right.
Well, apparently it was influenced or based on what Martin Gore had read Priscilla Presley's book about her life with Elvis, and it was the song was sort of influenced by that book. So
no, I didn't know that. All I know is that somewhere around 90, I was in a haze, as it were, and you know, the only thing that drew me down was this whole idea of personal Jesus, and then it became something that was really like elevating for me. And I really loved Depeche Mode because they weren't afraid to mention, you know, the name of Jesus, the name of God. They weren't like scared of that, and yet you knew that they were not straight. You knew that they were not that they had all this energy towards bunch of sort of gothic ideology, but then there was and even, you know, other sexual stuff. But the fact that they weren't afraid to talk about Jesus and God in their stuff was amazing. That was super cool. And they were super edgy because of it. And they were like, I mean, a lot of people were like, no. But like, I was like, yeah, get that. That's the stuff. That was edgy to me. It wasn't like super poppy, because, I mean, '90 was the time of CNC and the Music Factory, and I mean, even the Shaman were coming around about then, and so you had all this stuff that was like, pushing the other way. But here's Depeche Mode going, no, listen to this. This has got groove, and it's got real meaning, and I love
the tune.
Yeah. So yeah, I love this song. This is my, it was a song that I played on a top 40 radio station in Montana that I played on KBOZ FM. I mean, we had Personal Jesus, and we had Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You. So those two songs were like the big British songs at the time, and they were on the high rotation. I mean, I played them probably twice a night, or at least 1.5 times a night. It was definitely, I played them every single show.
Okay, well, I also like the other album, Songs of Faith and Devotion, but we're not doing that album.
No, not today.
But I mean, Nothing Compares to You, even though Sinead was lucky that the video was so simple, and she did do a wonderful job, but that's a Prince song.
Oh, yeah, it's the cover, yeah.
That's the other thing, too, that, Americans get confused between, what's British and what isn't, and what's British sounding and what isn't. And, I mean, British music in a way has always been popular, but it took off in the 60s and the 80s, pretty much, where it was influencing 90% of the, American market. But, of course, it's died off a little bit again. And poor Amy Winehouse, even though she had a great voice,
Come back, Britain.
she couldn't, I mean, people were even laughing about that rehab song, saying, oh, is she talking about herself?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, so, and the Spice Girls, but nobody wants to admit they like them.
I do.
But anyway.
Come back, Britain.
Getting back to Depeche Mode. Yeah, I mean, they did a lot of songs that I liked, but it was also the sound. It was, like you said, it's a movie. I said too. It's like a movie. It's like a soundtrack. They're the other thing too is they're very particular, and they're very definitive. You don't confuse them with any other band either.
Yeah.
Well, that's because of their image. They're, for over, must be 30 years now, they've used the same person for the photography, for the videos, sort of things. Is it, I can't remember his name now. Is it Corbin? He did all the black and white photos of them and all like that, and he made videos with them. They use the same people. So why fix it if it's not broke?
Yeah. Right. Anyway, the next song is called Halo.
Oh, I love this song.
Talk about it.
Oh, just shackles on your feet like a halo in reverse. Brilliant. Just the lyrics as well. I mean, you get the lyrics and then you put the music to the lyric. It just gels. And with Dave Gahan's voice, because Dave's singing this one as well, just works so well. I mean, if you ever see it, I think they made most of this album. I think they made videos to every song of this album, I think. And this is a good video to this song, Halo. Yeah, I like this one. This is for me, this is one of the standout tracks on the album. Apart from the singles, because I said this one wasn't released as a single in the UK, but this is a standout track for me, Halo. I just love it.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Yeah. You want to talk about it, or you want to?
No,
skip this one? All right. Like Lee was, the line that Lee was mentioning is a sort of a revelation of what it's about. It's all about bondage. And they are not afraid of that either. They are not afraid of bondage or S&M. They're just like, straight up open about that, and this has got that, you know, control thing going on, and yeah, Halo's great.
Yeah, oh yes, I didn't mention what it was about, but good old Susan went straight in and did it.
Yeah, why not?
But yeah, but I mean, who else would write a song like that with the lyrics like that? Because not a lot of people know what it's about.
Oh
They
yeah.
just think, you know, that's a good tune. Listen to the lyrics.
You really need to be kind of ignorant about that if you take their works as a whole, because they do have a lot of, you know, bondage, power play, S&M sort of material throughout their whole, you know, their whole opus.
Master and Servant's the standout one there.
Yeah. You could say that again.
Strangelove.
All right, so then Working for the Night and
Waiting for the Night, yeah. This is a slower, ambient, very harmonized song, and it's sort of it doesn't really pick it. It doesn't the tune doesn't pick up. It's just a steady song.
Yep.
Tune with the harmonized vocals of Dave Garn and a bit of Martin Gore there, but it works so well.
Yep. It's about like 90 beats per.
It's just a
second.
steady thing. Yeah. This is one of my favourites on the album as well. You know, it doesn't. You don't have to think, oh, that's a bit, you know, but steady, slow it down, and that's what they do.
Yeah.
This one. It works so well.
Yep. And the title says it all, what it's about. So yeah.
Well, apparently it was supposed to be called "Waiting for the Night to Fall," but with a printing error, it was missed off the end.
Oh.
So it's just called "Waiting for the Night."
All right.
With the printing error at the record company, and they didn't get the full title of the song on the thing.
Okay. Well,
there you go.
Yeah. And then you want to talk about that one?
Which one?
Waiting for the Night to Fall?
Yeah.
Okay. And then how about Enjoy the Silence?
Yep.
Ooh, Enjoy the Silence. Second single off the album, released around about the same time as the album, March 1990. This was such a big hit. Big hit worldwide, I think.
Definitely.
And it's such a simple song as well, because there's not many lyrics in it. The lyrics sort of repeat themselves, but it's such an iconic video. What goes with the song as well? Just Dave Garn walking around dressed as a king, carrying a deck chair in the countryside. But say Enjoy the Silence. It's such a brilliant song. It's always played on the radio. You know, it's what 1919. It's what 2019 now. So, you know, it's still popular. This song.
Yeah, I like the fact that it talks about like how you deal with people who are mean to you.
Yeah.
You know, how you deal with trolls, how you deal with angry people, how you deal with, you know, ugly neighbors, how you deal, you know, these people can hurt, they can bring you harm, and it's just best if you don't hear them. So when you're alone, enjoy the silence.
All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my arms.
Yep.
Brilliant lyrics. You know, words are very unnecessary. They can only do harm.
Yep.
It's true. It is true.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a brilliant song. Brilliant
Yeah.
song.
Yeah. So, you want to talk about Enjoy the Silence?
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, it's another, great song. That's the other thing, that they don't really give too much away. They don't really give too much away in their titles, and then it's good to hear it and see if you really like it. And just like any other really great band, you'll be surprised.
Look how long it is.
Yeah, I know. 6 minutes 13 seconds. So yeah, so I mean, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. It's different, and that's one of the reasons why you listen to the band.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I've always had one thing about Depeche Mode. For me personally, I think they should be recognised more by the music industry. They never get any recognition or any award for any of this or that or the other, or outstanding contributions to anything. But they should do. They've been supplying brilliant music for nearly 40 years. So they should get recognition at some point.
Actually, apparently they've been together since '77.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
42 years.
Oh,
I know.
don't time fly when they're having fun.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the next track is Policy of Truth.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Lee?
This was the third single off the album. This was released as the third single.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very similar feeling to what do they call it? The first track, "World in My Eyes." It's that similar feeling, sort of sound. Yeah. When it was released, I thought, yeah, it's all right, but I thought maybe "Halo" could have been the single, or maybe another song coming up, "Clean," could have been a single. But the "Policy of Truth," which I haven't got a problem with that, but it's not the one I usually go to listen to. But yeah, it's just another well written, well performed synth pop. What do you want to call it? Goth synth pop, electro goth synth pop. But yeah, what would you think to it, Susan? Is it one of yours, or is it?
Well, yeah, it was the third track, the third hit track in the United States. The first two were Jesus and Enjoy the Silence, and Policy of Truth didn't make it as big, unfortunately. Otherwise, this one would have probably aimed for Grammy or something. But it was definitely in there. I don't know how high this song got on Billboard, but or on radio and records. But it was fun.
To say all the four singles in the UK, as far as I can remember, were top 20 hits.
Yeah.
Enjoy the Silence was a top 5. The other three were top 20, but they're still, played and played and played.
Right. Yeah. That's the truth. But the Policy of Truth wasn't. It never got the air. I mean, I played it maybe twice on my top 40 radio station. In the like that latter half of 1990.
Yeah.
But it should have done better. But anyway, I think it's a beautiful song.
Well, it was also too direct, and sometimes, especially in America, unless the song's about certain things or eating or whatever, they don't like the songs too direct. And that was a very direct.
Yeah, they don't like something to hit home, do they?
Yeah, no, they didn't. I mean, as far as I remember, there was only maybe 3 songs overall that have, that are still in, thought of in America, and they do good in America, but they're just not a commercially successful band.
Except for those first 2 tracks on this.
Right? No, but there is. But what I'm saying is, they're not a band that everybody goes, oh yeah, let me put that on, or singing it out loud or whatever. They don't strike America that way. At least not around here. Go ahead.
It's surprising though, because they absolutely sell out stadiums all over the world.
Yeah,
in America, all over. It's just.
I mean, now again, I think I've heard them live, and it is very good live too. So maybe actually their music is more suited for a live performance.
Yeah, because say I've seen them live 4 times, and I went to see the Songs of Faith and Devotion tour twice in the same year, and because I loved it the first time, I went the second time, but that was one hell of a show, theatrical, movie-like. As I say, they really are good live.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. I mean, if it really is a movie, which they are, if it's like being in a movie, yeah, there's not too many people that are singing movie, themes and stuff like that. They might do a movie quote, but they're not going to do the whole, song. So if it's like being in a movie, then live is the only way to see them.
Oh yeah, yeah. And they're always on tour. They're like you too.
Yeah. Basically, the Irish counterpart to Depeche Mode is U2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me know what you think about Blue Dress.
Blue Dress. This one's sung by Martin Gore this time. It's not Dave, it's Martin on this one. It's sort of Martin always seems to sing the slower sort of songs. Blue Dress, yeah, it's good. The lyrics good. Put it on, don't say a word. Put it on. The one that I prefer. It's it does work well. I always like it when Martin takes over the lead to sing songs.
Okay, now over here they said that it was Sire or Reprise Records. They had a mix version. One was the 5-minute version. Then they had the Capitol mix at 8 minutes. Then they had the beatbox mix at a little under 8 minutes. Then they had Khaled, which was a remix, where it was slowed down, which I don't know how they did that, but yeah, I remember that. And then they had something called Pavlov's Dub, which they admitted was a mistake the way they printed it. And it was supposed to be the Transcentral mix. And that was in May 1990. So they said the personnel was David Gahan, Martin Gore, Ellen Wilder, and Andrew Fletcher.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I like Blue Dress, but I like the next song. Well, the next song makes an impact. So, in terms of attention, if I'm listening to the album straight through, like you do, you do somewhat. I wouldn't. It wasn't like it wasn't like a song that I really paid attention to very well.
Which one is this?
The Blue Dress.
Oh, Blue Dress.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. It could mean like it could be talking about, drag or whatever, but it could be something else. But anyway, it's fun. It's fine. It's a good song. But can you talk about Clean?
The cleanest I've been. Yeah. What another song what I always go to? Say Halo, Clean. Clean could have been a single. I just love this song. It's a brilliant song to finish the album on. And I think it's quite obvious what it's about. and Dave Gahan's voice is on top form again. It's just, it works so well, and as I say, it's very atmospheric, and it sort of washes over you when you listen to Clean. And it does the trick for me. You know, you can see why this album this album shot Depeche Mode into a higher status when it was released, and it's just brilliant song, Clean. Over to you, Susan. What you're going to say? You don't like it now, eh?
Here's Alex.
Well, which one is this one?
The Clean song.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Just to, if this is the 90s we're talking about, they were competing with Collective Soul, Everclear, Nirvana, Metallica, Van Halen, what is it, Aerosmith, Collective Soul,
Said that.
Pearl Jam. They even had Kiss, apparently, and so they actually did have a lot of competition in the 80s and 90s as well.
Yeah. They've seen all the competition off as well. They're still
right, and of course Tom Petty. But this was also, I'm also reading of Billboard's, number ones of the 90s. So except for like Alana Miles and Bruce Hornsby in the Range, and maybe AC/DC. I have ZZ Top as well. You have a lot of bands that are very commercial, so it is good that they were in the mix, even for a band that isn't even for a band that isn't commercial, they were competing with what, like 15 other bands or whatever.
Sure.
But Depeche Mode to me will always be cool.
Yeah. So this song Clean really pissed me off. In my state of mind, when I heard this song, I would, it was no wonder Blue Dress didn't make that big an impact in my experience, because this song had, it was dark for me. This song was like asking me the tough question, about my demons and stuff. And yeah, of course, it was about the band and their demons, but man, this song made me angry. Made me so angry. Clean was all about getting clean of drugs, and to come to a realization that you were in trouble, and I didn't want to know that. That was not who I thought I was. I couldn't be tamed like that. So
how dare they
how
preach
dare they have impact on me? How dare they try to change the world? Really.
But it's strange that this is 1990, clean, as we know, about coming clean, drugs and stuff like that. But in '93, Dave Gahan nearly died of the drugs.
Yeah, well, he almost made it.
Yeah, so he never really listened to his own words, did he?
Ah, right.
Yeah.
And it took me till 1999 to get clean. But anyway, Grump, this song was like, gothic terror for an addict. It's the wrong thing to listen to at a party.
Actually, that's exactly what you should do.
No, it was the wrong thing to be listening to.
Hey,
What are you poking me? What are you poking me for?
What's all the testimonial here? No, that's what you should be listening to, as a matter of fact.
Too right.
So you got to give them credit for that, and too bad the Stone Temple Pilots didn't listen to it as well.
I know.
Yeah. But now you've said this about back then. What do you think to the song now?
It's a great song. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Listening to Depeche Mode, though, isn't like, listening to something with new ears. Like, it always brings me back Like
Yeah.
there's like it's so time affected. I mean,
Well,
it
that's what
is a
music.
time machine.
Yeah, music is for that. It
Yeah,
brings back memory.
it's
Yeah,
not just bringing back a memory; it's bringing back that old time. And
yeah.
so, yeah, still, it's like, oh, really? But I know that it's like, I know that it's like, it has a purpose, and I
Yeah.
know that the band was like, going through it, trying to root around and see if they could, sing themselves out of trouble. But I yeah, it isn't like I'm like rejoicing, but yeah, it is like something that you can totally. I'm sure that my friends who were getting sober at that time were like, "Hooray for this song!"
Yeah, I can see that point of view. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the point is like you would, it would be great if you went to like an NA party, a Narcotics Anonymous party, and heard this song. But I don't know if I don't, because it could draw you back. I don't know.
Mm,
But
mm.
it is an immense piece of music. It has a big impact.
Well, that's another word. I mean, you say Alex Hughes movie, impact. Depeche Mode does most of their albums. It's impactful music. It does impact,
Yep.
even if it's just the album track. It
Yep.
does have an impact on certain things.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter what album they do. But say we're talking about this one. This is a big impact.
Yep.
Yeah, and if it's doing that, it's it's the right thing. They're doing the right thing. If it's impacting things on people's lives,
Yeah, it wins.
yeah, it wins.
So in Gestalt, in the whole thing, what did you think of Violator again?
Violator, yeah. As I said, I discovered them properly Black Celebration '86. So then we went to Music for the Masses in '87. That was a bit of a flop for them, that album. So they came back with this one, and it was fresh. It was sort of fresh feeling for Depeche Mode. Violator, yeah, for me, it's up there. It's up there. It is up there with one of their best works, I would say. I don't know. It would be the top one. Maybe Songs of Faith Devotion might be up top. Would be the one in top. But this one is it's chasing it. I would say. I love the album, but I love everything what Depeche Mode do. I mean, they had an album out just a year or so ago. I loved the album, but nobody else seemed to like it. You know what I mean? It's just one of them things.
I know what you mean. Do you want to talk about Violator as a whole?
Yeah. Like I said, I don't like it as much as Songs of Faith and Devotion, but it's up there. And they're a really good group, and they've done very startling things, and they're a very good live band as well, and they're very good. And they're very good. They're different. They're particular. They're distinctive. And as we mentioned before, somehow they didn't do good sales in America, but they had great radio play, especially with alternative or unpop-like music. They did great with the concerts, and that's part of being a band too. It's a combination. It's a combination. And they did feel like a movie, and they did, the lyrics are actually very smart and very strong. So maybe maybe they're sort of the next step from Bowie. Maybe they took Bowie and other influences. I don't know if I trust Wikipedia with some of the bands are using. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, you can see that they sort of took, they took and if two of the band members or one of the band members were doing drugs and almost died, then it's actually very unhypocritical of them to do a song about drugs and to do so many, good lyrics and good points about it as well. So they weren't hypocritical that they were saying, oh, we're just going to party, and at the same point, not admit it, and at the same point, not talk about life, because that's the other thing that's missing from a lot of songs nowadays is that there's no real reality to it. You can't describe the song and have somebody go, wow, that's brilliant, or wow, that's really intelligent. You can't do that with a lot of songs nowadays. And
True.
it's the same. A lot of the songs now, they're very bass oriented, or they're rappy, or they say the same word 300 times, and it's not even a good word. So it's like, okay, it's really it's not even driving music, because I wouldn't want to drive to it anyway. But if you listen to Bowie, or you listen to Depeche Mode, or even Elvis Costello, for as many people as he made mad, unfortunately, he seems to pick a lot of fights. He did have good lyrics. Not all of them, not all his songs, but he did have good lyrics, and that's part of the reason why people did like British-oriented songs and all that, is that they weren't talking like America, which is, oh, let's just have fun till the sun comes up, or, superficial things like that. Not all of them, granted, but a lot of American pop songs are kind of like that. They're kind of one-dimensional, or they're bubblegum, and they don't go too, they don't go too deep. It's not
one-dimension British.
One-dimensional. Anyway, no, there is. I mean, there's the Spice Girls and all that, and take that. But I'm talking about the good era of British music. I'm not talking about the biggest era of British music. And like I said, some songs are there to be, bubblegum songs. But what I'm saying is, I can't think of too many American pop bands or American bands that you go, oh, that's a really good song, or that's really deep. Aerosmith has done a few, but they got known for power ballads and other things. So it's amazing that Depeche Mode does do a few poppy songs, but that's like 5%. That's not like big. It's not a big. Even Bowie got mad in the 80s. Remember that he said he was too commercial. So,
he refused to play any of his 80s stuff in concert at one point.
Right. Now, I mean, that's, again, I'm not trying to be, saying, oh, everybody's brilliant and perfect and they do no wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is there's a British sensibility that's more pessimistic and more realistic and more pragmatic than the American. Not that Americans don't do it, but they want to keep happy and optimistic, and they want to be popular. And you can't say a lot of truth if you want to be popular. That's the problem with that.
It's better to be true. But I always say as well, they always go about Depeche Mode, oh, they're so dark, they're always black and black. Never judge a band by the look of the band. Listen to the music, listen to the lyrics. Let the lyrics wash over you. And an ideal band is Depeche Mode, and it will work wonders for you.
Wow. Well, don't forget that the Beatles were in black originally too, weren't they?
Yeah, but people get people see Depeche Mode as oh yeah, they're always dressed in black. They're so goth. They're not goth. They're not goth at all.
Some of their songs, though, border on it. It's okay. It's okay to admit that they are a lot of different parts to the band.
I wouldn't say Martin goes goth, because seeing him live on stage wearing little glittery gold pants is not goth.
I understand, but like the...
Well, no, but the issue is they weren't known for poppy songs, and they were known, Personal Jesus and Blasphemous Rumors
Yeah. Well, you see, this is
were a very serious song. So
yeah. When they first started, this is when I said at the beginning, tinkly pop. That's when they first started. It was sort of seen as tinkly pop songs, but one 86 came along, and Black Celebration came out. Like, whoa, they've changed the sort of style. It works so well, but people still remember the tinkly pop songs because they're brilliant songs as well.
Well, again, I mean, the other thing too is people forget U2 and REM weren't exactly poppy bands when they started either.
No,
you know?
they weren't.
So I think the other problem is maybe that's why they want to be a serious band, because they don't want to be known for a really silly song, and then have people go, "Oh, that's them and only them," and then you get typecast.
They didn't get known as a silly. They didn't have any.
No, I said they don't want to get known. They didn't want to get known for.
They still play all those tinkly pop songs in the concerts. I just can't get enough. Master and Servant and all the other ones. Get the balance right. They still play all them in live.
Yeah.
They haven't forgotten the past.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, but the thing is too that they, again, the people forget too. Just like a movie, you get an impression of a movie.
This is it,
I think the problem is that they've gotten known for in America of, they're very serious. It's like, well, okay, but yeah, you don't want to be known as silly. Or here's another thing. I've even bumped into Spanish bands that they want to go, we don't want to get known for just one song. We do lots of songs, but they get known for like 2 songs and that's it.
Yeah.
So they're stuck.
So I'm glad that these guys had more. I mean, three releases in the United States for Violator alone.
Yeah.
And it was a hugely successful piece in toto, and I'm really glad that we got a chance to talk about it, because
I'm happy as well, because there was so many albums that we could have chosen, but we went for this one.
Yep.
And it was good to bang it in the CD player, because I haven't listened to it for a while. It was good to hear that it brought back good memories, and as you said earlier, it brings back memories. It works.
Yeah, it does. And the cool thing is that these guys are from Essex, but they made their big plunge in London, and so they influenced so much of London's culture, and the spin-off bands, Erasure and Yazoo, and then Alison Moyet, and all of the cool sort of things that happened as a result of Depeche Mode make me really happy too, because those are really great, really great offshoots as well.
Oh yeah, brilliant, yeah.
And I just would like to see them live too.
Well, once they release an album, they always do a world tour.
Yep.
So you just have to keep your eye open for when they're touring. I mean, they had an album out 2 years ago, I think it was. So they must be due another album out either this year or next year. So
yeah, I was gonna say 2016.
Yeah, I think it was called. Yeah, I've got Spirit. I think it was Spirit. That was the one.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching Audio Heads again. We're doing real audio stuff right now. We're doing music audio, and thanks Lee, and thanks Alex for listening and joining and speaking your mind about Depeche Mode.
Oh, yes.
And let's do another one of these, or we could go back to doing audio adventures. It's up to you guys, but we're not telling. We'll come back in a fortnight. We're not telling you what we're doing. Yeah, it is sort of a secret. And we have the policy of truth, but we can omit stuff too, so.
We show you the world in my eyes.
Anyway, come back again soon.